woman who destroyed a king. Wallis Simpson and the abdication that shook the world. You have no idea how hard it is to live out a great romance.
With those words, Wallis Simpson didn't just describe her life. She defined it.
Born Bessie Wallace Warfield in 1896 in Baltimore, Maryland, she was American, middle class, divorced, then divorced again. She was everything a British king could not marry. And yet, in 1936, King Edward VIII fell in love with her. Obsessively, desperately, completely. He was the King of England, Emperor of India, head of the Church of England, ruler of the British Empire, and he gave it all up for her. On December 11th, 1936, Edward VIII abdicated the throne after 11 months as king. He gave a radio address, broadcast to 300 million people worldwide. I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do without the help and support of the woman I love. The woman I love, Wallis Simpson. It was the greatest love story of the 20th century. Was it? Because declassified FBI files suggest Wallis didn't want to marry Edward. She wanted to stay with her second husband. Edward pursued her, obsessed over her, trapped her.
And during World War II, both Edward and Wallis sympathized with the Nazis,
met with Hitler, plotted with German intelligence. This is not a fairy tale romance. This is a story about obsession, about a king who destroyed his legacy for a woman who may not have loved him back, about Nazi sympathies, FBI surveillance, exile, and jewelry sold at auction after a lonely death.
If stories about scandal, power, and the cost of obsession interest you, like, comment, and subscribe for Untold Legacies and the Romances That Changed History. Part 1. The Girl from Baltimore. June 19, 1896. Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. Bessie Wallace Warfield is born. American. To a middle-class family. Her father, Teakle Wallace Warfield, dies of tuberculosis when she is 5 months old. Her mother, Alice Montague, is left poor, dependent on wealthy relatives. Wallis grows up in Baltimore. Not wealthy, but comfortable, thanks to her uncle, Solomon Davies Warfield, a railroad magnate. Wallis is not classically beautiful, but she is charming, witty, bold. She learns early, if you're not rich or beautiful, you must be clever. This Ford's boarding school, Oldfield School in Maryland. The school motto, gentleness and courtesy are expected of girls at all times. Wallis ignores this. She is sharp-tongued, rebellious, popular. She wants more than Baltimore can offer. Part 2. The First Marriage. 1916. Wallis meets Earl Winfield Spencer Jr., a U.S. Navy pilot.
Handsome, charming, alcoholic. They marry.
November 8th.
1916. Wallis is 20. The marriage is a disaster. Earl drinks, becomes violent, locks Wallis in bathrooms during parties. She stays for 8 years. Why? Divorce is scandalous, shameful. A divorced woman is damaged goods. But by 1927, Wallis has had enough. She files for divorce. She is 31, divorced, no money, no prospects. But she has something else, ambition. Part 3. China and the Second Marriage. 1924. Before divorcing Earl, Wallis travels to China with friends. She stays in Shanghai, Beijing, Hong Kong. There are rumors, unverified, that Wallis worked in a brothel. Learned sexual techniques. This is likely British propaganda, spread later to discredit her. But one thing is certain. Wallis meets Ernest Aldrich Simpson in China. Or shortly after. Ernest Simpson, British-American, shipping executive, divorced. They marry. July 21st, 1928, London. Wallis becomes Mrs. Simpson and moves to London. She enters London society, hosts parties, meets aristocrats. She is witty, glamorous, well-dressed, and in 1931, she meets the Prince of Wales. Part 4, The Prince of Wales. Edward, Albert, Christian, George, Andrew, Patrick, David. Known as David to family. Born June 23, 1894. Eldest son of King George V and Queen Mary. He is heir to the British throne. Future king. He is also handsome, charming, immature, selfish. Edward loves beautiful women. Married women especially. They are safe, cannot demand marriage. He has had multiple affairs. Lady Furness, Frida Dudley Ward, others. In 1931, Lady Furness introduces Edward to Wallis Simpson. Wallis is 35, married, American, not aristocratic. Edward is intrigued. Part 5. The affair begins. 1934. Edward's interest in Wallis intensifies. He invites her to parties, weekends at his country estate, Fort Belvedere. Ernest Simpson is included, at first. But slowly, Edward pushes Ernest aside, spends time alone with Wallis. Wallis is flattered. The Prince of Wales, future king, obsessed with her. But she is also cautious. She does not want to lose her marriage, her respectability. FBI files, declassified decades later, reveal Wallis's letters to Ernest. She writes, she loves Ernest. She wants to stay married. She finds Edward exhausting. But Edward will not be denied. Part 6, January 20th, 1936. The king dies. King George V dies, age 70. Edward becomes King Edward VIII, age 41. He is now the most powerful man in the British Empire, and he wants Wallis. Wallis is still married to Ernest, but Edward does not care. He showers her with gifts, jewelry, money, attention. He talks openly about marrying her, making her queen. His advisors are horrified. Part 7, The Constitutional Crisis. Britain in 1936 is a constitutional monarchy. The king reigns but does not rule. But the king is also the supreme governor of the Church of England. The Church of England forbids divorce, forbids remarriage of divorcees. Wallis Simpson is about to divorce her second husband. If Edward marries her, he will be marrying a twice-divorced woman. This is unacceptable to the church, to the government, to the people. Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin tells Edward, "You cannot marry Wallis and remain king." Edward responds, "Then I will abdicate." Baldwin is stunned. No British monarch has abdicated in over 400 years. Part 8. The pressure mounts. Summer and fall 1936. Edward and Wallis vacation together. Publicly, they cruise the Mediterranean on a yacht. Photographs published worldwide. The British press agrees not to publish the photos, out of respect for the king. But American and European press publish everything. The world knows. The King of England is having an affair with a married American woman. British citizens read about it in foreign newspapers, smuggled into the country. The establishment panics. The monarchy is at risk. Queen Mary, Edward's mother, begs him, "End the affair. Do your duty." Edward refuses. Wallis, according to FBI files, tries to leave, begs him to take her back, but it is too late. Ernest has moved on. He is involved with another woman. Wallis is trapped. Part 9. October 27th, 1936. The divorce. Wallis divorces Ernest Simpson. The decree is granted.
She is now free to marry, but the decree nisi must wait 6 months to become absolute. Edward cannot wait. He wants to marry immediately. Baldwin proposes a solution, a morganatic marriage. Wallis would marry Edward, but she would not become queen. She would not be royal. Edward considers this, but rejects it. He wants Wallis to be queen. Baldwin says, impossible. Edward's choice is clear. The throne or Wallis. Part 10, December 10th, 1936. The Abdication. Edward chooses Wallis. On December 10th, 1936, Edward VIII signs the Instrument of Abdication. He has reigned for 325 days, 11 months. The shortest reign of any British monarch since Edward V in 1483, who was murdered. Edward's brother Albert becomes King George VI. Edward is given a new title, Duke of Windsor. He is no longer king. Part 11. The Abdication Speech. December 11th, 1936. Edward gives a radio address. From Windsor Castle, an estimated 300 million people listen. Worldwide. At long last, I am able to say a few words of my own. I have never wanted to withhold anything, but until now it has not been constitutionally possible for me to speak. A few hours ago, I discharged my last duty as king and emperor. And now that I have been succeeded by my brother, the Duke of York, my first words must be to declare my allegiance to him. This I do with all my heart. You all know the reasons which have impelled me to renounce the throne. I did not forget the country or the empire, which, as Prince of Wales and lately as king, I have for 25 years tried to serve. But you must believe me when I tell you that I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do without the help and support of the woman I love. The woman I love. The world is stunned. Part 12. Exile begins. Edward leaves England immediately. That night, he cannot stay. He goes to Austria, then France. Wallis is still in England. Her divorce is not yet final. They cannot marry for 6 months. Edward waits, in exile, alone. The British establishment is furious. The royal family is humiliated. George VI, the new king, is unprepared. He has a stutter, anxiety. He never wanted to be king. His wife, Elizabeth, later the Queen Mother, blames Wallis forever. Part 13. June 3rd, 1937. The wedding. Wallis's divorce becomes final. She is free to marry. June 3rd, 1937. Edward and Wallis marry. At the Château de Condé, in France, which means a small ceremony. No members of the royal family attend. Wallis is now the Duchess of Windsor, but she is not Her Royal Highness. George VI forbids it. This devastates Edward. He wanted Wallis to be royal, to be recognized. She is not. The British establishment has punished her, excluded her, forever. Part 14. The Nazi Connection. October 1937. Edward and Wallis visit Germany. They meet Adolf Hitler at his mountain retreat in Berchtesgaden. They tour factories, attend Nazi rallies, give the Nazi salute. Photographs are published worldwide. The British government is horrified. Why did Edward do this? Some say naivety. He admired German efficiency, believed war could be avoided. Others say sympathy. Edward held fascist views, believed democracy was weak. FBI files suggest Edward and Hitler discussed politics privately. Edward reportedly believed Britain should ally with Germany against communism. Part 15. World War II begins. September 1st, 1939. Germany invades Poland.
World War II begins. Edward and Wallis are in France. Exiled. Irrelevant. Edward wants to serve, to contribute. The British government assigns him a minor post, liaison officer in France. But in May 1940, Germany invades France. Edward and Wallis flee to Spain, then Portugal, and the Nazis see an opportunity. Part 16, Operation Willy. Summer 1940, the Nazis develop a plan. Codename Operation Willy. The goal? Kidnap Edward and Wallis. Install Edward as a puppet king after Britain falls. Hitler believes Edward is sympathetic, that Edward would cooperate. German intelligence contacts Edward. In Portugal, through intermediaries, offers are made, guarantees of safety, promises of restoration. Edward reportedly does not refuse outright. He listens. The British government discovers the plot. They panic. Immediately. Part 17. The Bahamas. Winston Churchill, now Prime Minister, offers Edward a post. Governor of the Bahamas. A British colony. Caribbean. It is exile, disguised as a position. Edward accepts. He has no choice. August 1940. Observant and Wallis sail to the Bahamas. They rid 5 years there. During the war, it is boring. Hot. Isolated. Wallis hates it. She calls it our street, Helena, referring to Napoleon's exile. But they are safe. Far from the war, far from scandal. Part 18. After the war, 1945. The war ends. Edward and Wallis leave the Bahamas. They return to France, settle in Paris. They live in luxury. A mansion, servants, parties, but they are outcasts. The royal family refuses contact. Edward is allowed to visit England. Rarely. For funerals, official events. I'm not, in final, persona non grata. Edward resents this deeply. Part 19. The Lonely Years. 1950s and 1960s. Edward and Wallis live in Paris. They socialize with the wealthy, travel, host parties. But they are hollow. Edward has no purpose, no role. Wallis once said, "You have no idea how hard it is to live out a great romance." Quietly resigned, emotionally distant. The romance is faded. What remains is bitterness. Edward drinks, becomes depressed. Wallis becomes harder, more materialistic, obsessed with jewelry. They stay together, but are they happy? Difficult to say. Part 20. May 28th, 1972. Edward dies. Edward is diagnosed with throat cancer. 1971. He declines rapidly. May 28th, 1972. Edward dies. Age 77. In Paris. Wallis is 75. She is now alone. The royal family allows Edward's body to return to England for burial. Wallis attends the funeral at Windsor Castle. It is the first time she has been officially acknowledged by the royal family. Queen Elizabeth II meets her, briefly, coldly. Wallis returns to Paris, alone. Part 21. Wallis's decline. After Edward's death, Wallis deteriorates. She becomes reclusive, paranoid, ill. She suffers from dementia, cannot recognize people. Her lawyer, Maître Suzanne Bloom, controls her life, her finances, her care. Wallis is essentially a prisoner in her own home. She lives for 14 more years after Edward's death, alone, confused, forgotten. Part 22. April 24th, 1986. Wallis dies. Wallis dies, age 89, in Paris. She is buried next to Edward at Frogmore, Windsor. Finally, she is with the royal family, in death. Her funeral is small, attended by the Queen.
Prince Philip. A few others. No eulogy, no praise, just burial. Part 23. The Jewelry Auction. After Wallis's death, her estate is settled. Her jewelry collection is auctioned. Sotheby's, Geneva, 1987. The collection includes pieces given by Edward, Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels. The auction raises $50 million. At the time, a record. The proceeds go to the Pasteur Institute, medical research. This was Edward's wish, documented in his will. Wallis's jewels, symbols of their love, sold to strangers. Part 24. What did Wallis want? The question historians ask, did Wallis love Edward? Her letters to Ernest Simpson, declassified by the FBI, suggest no. She wrote, she loved Ernest. She found Edward exhausting. She did not want to marry him, but Edward would not let her go. After the abdication, she was trapped. She could not leave. The world was watching. She married him, lived with him for 35 years. But was she happy? Probably not. Part 25. Edward's obsession. Edward's love for Wallis was obsessive, unhealthy. He gave up the throne, his family, his country, for her. But he also trapped her, pressured her, made her the villain. Because Wallis was blamed for the abdication, for destroying the monarchy. Not Edward, the king who chose a woman over duty. Wallis, the woman. Part 26. The royal family's hatred. The royal family never forgave Wallis. Queen Mary, Edward's mother, refused to meet her. Queen Elizabeth, George VI's wife, blamed Wallis for her husband's early death. George VI died at 56, stress from the kingship. Queen Elizabeth II was polite, but cold. Wallis was never given the title Her Royal Highness. This was punishment, exclusion, humiliation. Part 27. The Nazi question. Were Edward and Wallis Nazi sympathizers? Yes, almost certainly. They met Hitler, gave Nazi salutes, expressed admiration for the Third Reich. Declassified documents show Edward passed information to the Germans during the war. Whether this was treason or naivety is debated, but the fact remains, Edward and Wallis were, at minimum, dangerously sympathetic to fascism. Part 28. The feminist question. Was Wallis a victim or a villain? Victim. She was blamed for Edward's choices. She did not force him to abdicate. He chose. Villain. She pursued a married king, accepted lavish gifts, lived in luxury while millions suffered during the war. Both can be true. Wallis was a woman navigating a world controlled by men. She used the tools available: beauty, charm, manipulation. But she also made choices. Some selfish, some harmful. Part 29. Lessons from Wallis and Edward. What does their story teach us? Lesson 1. Obsession is not love. Edward was obsessed. Wallis may not have loved him back. Lesson 2. Duty matters. Edward abandoned his duty. His country suffered. His brother suffered. Lesson 3. Women are blamed for men's choices. Edward abdicated, but Wallis was vilified. Lesson 4. Exile is lonely. They lived in luxury, but they were exiled, isolated, forgotten. Part 30. Why this channel exists. If this exposed something about obsession, scandal, and the cost of choosing love over duty, do 3 things. Like this video, subscribe and turn on notifications. 3. Comment and tell me, was Wallis a victim or a villain? Did Edward truly love her? Or was it obsession? And should he have abdicated? Edward VIII gave up the throne for the woman he loved. Or did he? Because the woman he loved may not have loved him back. She may have been trapped,
by his obsession, by circumstance, by history. They lived together for 35 years, in exile, in luxury, in loneliness. And when they died, their jewels were sold at auction. The greatest love story of the 20th century, or the greatest obsession. Final thanks and shoutouts. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you are part of the Her Empire community. This channel exists to tell the truth about powerful women, even the complicated ones. Wallis Simpson was blamed for destroying a king, but the king destroyed himself. Next week, we will cover another story, another woman, another examination of power, love, and the price of both. When a man makes a destructive choice, ask, who gets blamed? The man who chose, or the woman he chose? Stay curious, stay critical, and never stop questioning the stories we are told.